This bill is going to hurt kids, and that's why I'm asking Disney to please take a position on the Don't Say Gay bill. Say that it's wrong, and say that you're going to stop donating to the politicians that vote for it.
Okay, so last year, company employees and members of the public pressured the Walt Disney Company to take a public stance against Ron DeSantis' so-called Don't Say Gay law. That's a law that bans the discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools. And that pressure campaign worked. Disney vowed to work to repeal the law, and it put out a statement that formally said DeSantis should not have signed it, which clearly angered the governor, as in really, really angered the governor.
For Disney to come out and put a statement and say that the bill should have never passed and that they are going to actively work to repeal it, I think, one, was fundamentally dishonest, but two, I think that crossed the line. And, we're going to make sure we're fighting back when people are threatening our parents and threatening our kids.
Disney alleges in a lawsuit filed today that since it spoke out about Don't Say Gay, Governor DeSantis has engaged in a, quote, targeted campaign of government retaliation against the company. That includes threatening to use his power as governor to impose tolls on the Florida roads that lead to Disney's theme parks. It includes raising the taxes on Disney hotels and even threatening to build a state prison next door. Now, a lot of this is complicated because Disney does have an absolutely wild amount of privileges in the state of Florida, ones that date back to when Walt Disney developed the property in the 1960s. But that is a story for another day. What is new here is not Disney's weird self-governing state inside another state. And it is not employees and the public pushing corporations to take a stand for what they believe is right or not right. Take, for example, the current outrage on the right over the Bud Light campaign featuring a transgender influencer in a sponsored post. Sales of Bud Light dropped 17% compared to this time last year, and that is almost definitely because conservatives are boycotting Bud Light. So whether or not we agree with their stance here, consumers do have the right to use the power of their pocketbooks. And again, all of that is not new. What is new here is the government punishing a corporation for basically listening to its consumers and expressing itself politically. In this case, expressing itself as politically progressive. Now, put a pin in that one because it comes up again. Yesterday, a Republican bill became law in the state of Kansas, and it bars public officials from using environmental, social, and governance factors in investing in public funds. In simpler, although more ridiculous terms, that means no woke climate or diversity goals are allowed to be used when making investment decisions. Indiana's Republican-controlled legislature passed a similar law on Monday, and Montana's governor signed one into law tonight. So now at least 9 states are controlling the way investments are made and making sure they do not align with any progressive goals, which is distressing because in our current era, with a political stalemate that's preventing nearly anything from happening in Washington, and with more and more Republicans at the state level turning to anti-democratic, undemocratic means, activists have turned more of their attention toward corporate America. It's literally one of the last remaining levers for citizens to pull in order to gain political agency and maybe actual change itself. And now the government is going to war over this. So what happens now? Joining us now is Rashad Robinson, the president of the activist group Color of Change, which specializes in using public pressure to push corporate America to push for progressive social change. You are the architect of all of this, Rashad. Thank you for joining me, my friend. How do you look at what is happening in this war between Disney and DeSantis? And do you think it could have a chilling effect on other corporations that are thinking about getting engaged in big cultural battles that are affecting a lot of people in this country?
Well, you know, Alex, we see corporations doing all sorts of horrific acts, fleecing their employees, hurting their consumers, polluting, doing all sorts of horrible practices. And here you have DeSantis going after Disney, not because they've done anything horrible to the citizens, but because they've actually stood up for a group of citizens and LGBTQ Floridians and LGBTQ people around the country. Mm-hmm. And so to the extent that corporations can't pretend like and hide here.
Yeah.
You know, they can't have it both ways. They either have to stand up and push back, or they're still going to sort of be held accountable. They're going to be held accountable by a public that's going to expect them to live up to their values. They can't make statements that say Black Lives Matter or that they stand up for the LGBT community. They can't show up to pride parades or do Black History Month celebrations and then continue to support policies and practices that put our communities in harm's way. And so the consumers will hold them accountable. And so, you know, I think it's important that Disney is doing this work, but we can't make corporations the hero in this story. We have to hold elected officials accountable for the rules and the regulations, and we have to do sort of more work at helping the public really understand the role that corporations have in not just in politics, but in sort of all the ways our public life rolls out.
But I guess I just wonder, I mean, how possible is that going to be given the zeal of Republican governors and Republican state lawmakers to preemptively basically outlaw an engagement in the political arena on the part of corporations or investment institutions? You know what I mean? They're just, the preemptive strike is, don't you even think about these progressive goals? Don't you even think about institutional investments that target diversity and environmental and social goals? Don't even think about it. Like, preemptively shut down the debate before it even happens.
Well, this is actually going to be the test for corporations around exactly do their words actually match their actions? Because the Republicans wouldn't be in office without their corporate enablers. And so corporations will say that they support our issues, they will stand up with us, and then they will still give their donations. They will still give their money to support these same politicians who are passing these laws. And so the question is not what they do with their statements. The question is what they do with their dollars. And they could cut all of this off and stop all of this if they turn off the spigot and they turn off the dollars and they start actually holding these politicians accountable in a very different way. Right now, we get a lot of statements when the corporations were speaking out against the attacks on voting rights.
Yeah.
And we saw sort of a lot of these companies standing up and speaking out. The question really wasn't, you know, what does your statement say? What does your statement say after January 6th? The question is, where do your dollars go after January 6th?
Which candidates are you supporting?
Which candidates are you supporting? How long do you withhold your dollars? Do you withhold them for 3 months, 6 months, or do you withhold them long enough for it to actually matter? These Republican officials are taking these actions because they are making a bet that the politicians will come back around and continue to support them, that they will not withhold their resources, that they will just make these statements, and that they're not truly with us. And for us in the public, we have to be vigilant in making sure that we are both doing the accountability and we are also doing the work around withholding our dollars where necessary.
When you talk about withholding dollars, I want to look at the example of Tucker Carlson, because you guys were very engaged in this effort to strip advertiser dollars from his show, which was successful, right? I mean, by and large, the main advertiser during that hour was Mike Lindell, right? I mean, you did not have, I think Disney, Papa John's, T-Mobile, there were all these corporations that used to advertise on Fox airwaves and stopped because the content got so vulgar and demeaning and in other ways filled with disinformation and outright lies. And yet, Tucker Carlson was the marquee talent at the network. He was getting a salary of reportedly over $20 million and was seen as a raging success. So square for me the utility of stripping the advertiser dollars if the person who is the sort of snake charmer, if you will, in all of this, the person who is the Pied Piper, retains his bully pulpit.
Well, this is an important point about strategy here, especially when it comes to Fox News. We've run a number of campaigns against Fox News. We went after the Glenn Beck show famously years ago and forced over 200 advertisers to divest. We went did the Bill O'Reilly show. And so those were advertiser campaigns when the business model was different at Fox. But the business model over the years has slowly changed. And so Fox actually doesn't need advertisers. In fact, about 90% of their resources happen through cable subscriptions. And what ends up happening, right, is they negotiate a much higher sort of carriage fees. And so what ends up happening is they're getting twice as much, basically, as this network and other networks, competitors. And so basically all of us as consumers, whether we watch Fox or not, are subsidizing Tucker Carlson. And so the question is for cable providers is that we should no longer allow them to continue to sort of allow Fox to have these high rates. And we are running a campaign right now to actually focus on that, to focus on the sort of Verizons and AT&Ts of the world, the cable providers that are actually
paying the money,
because we are all subsidizing Tucker Carlson. We are subsidizing those lies. We are subsidizing the other folks on that networks, and it's not the advertisers. And so I could run an advertiser campaign with my team. We could get all these advertisers divest, and Fox could keep doing what it's doing. And so corporate accountability is also about strategy. And so part of the strategy here is focusing our energy at the right places so we get the right results.
I knew you would have an answer for that, Rashad. You're always one step ahead of the game. It's great to see you, my friend. Rashad Robinson from Color Change.